Hey guys, so I just wanted to take a little time to kind of expose some of the BS that's being spread about the coronavirus and to just give you guys all the research that I've been able to accumulate on it from. I get most of my research mainly from the in my opinion, the leading source of uh, info on some of the shit that's going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing. They are called greatgameindia.com, and they have various groups on the internet. And yeah, just most of the stuff that I have that I'm going to be telling you about, I've either just copied or paraphrased from Great Game India. I don't take any intellectual ownership over it. It's only just to spread the information. And okay, so let's begin. Coronavirus is a lab-engineered bioweapon. Indian scientists discovered coronavirus was engineered with AIDS-like insertions. There was a study undertaken by scientists from the Indian Institute of Technology, Acharya Narendra Dev College and University of Delhi, and has been published under the title Uncanny Similarity of Novel Inserts in the 2019 nCoV Spike Protein to HIV-1, GP120, and GAG. Insertions were in the coronavirus which were absent from other coronaviruses. This finding, the study states, is unlikely to be fortuitous in nature, meaning that it is not a natural occurring phenomenon. The study concludes that it is because of these four new AIDS-like insertions that the Wuhan coronavirus has jumped to humans originally known only to infect animals. These proteins are critical for the viruses to identify and latch onto their host cells and for viral assembly. Since surface proteins are responsible for host tropism, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but tropism in this case is viral tropism. It is the ability of a given virus to productively infect a particular cell. Changes in these proteins imply a change in host specificity of the virus. According to reports from China, there has been a gain of host specificity in case 2019 nCoV, as the virus was originally known to infect animals and not humans, but after the mutations, it has gained tropism to humans as well. So basically what that sums up is, like, in other versions of the coronavirus, like SARS, and like in the RNA sequence of said viruses before the novel coronavirus we have today, there was nothing similar to HIV. And like what they're saying is it was genetically spliced into, or I don't know how you worded that, but it was fucking introduced into the HIV traits in the S proteins were introduced to the most recent form of coronavirus we have today. Okay. Biowarfare agents are deliberately smuggling and spreading COVID-19. Biowarfare agents at Harvard University have been caught smuggling deadly viruses from America. According to court documents since 2008, Dr. Lieber, who has served as the principal investigator of the Lieber Research Group at Harvard University, which specialized in the area of nanoscience, has received more than $15 million in grant funding from the National Institutes of Health and the Department of Defense. These grants require the disclosure of significant foreign financial conflicts of interest, including financial support from foreign governments or foreign entities. Unbeknownst to Harvard University, beginning in 2011, Lieber became a strategic scientist at Wuhan University of Technology in China and was a contractual participant in China's Thousand Talents Plan from in or about 2012 to 2017. China's Thousand Talents Plan is one of the most prominent Chinese talent recruit plans that are designed to attract, recruit, and cultivate high-level scientific talent in furtherance of China's scientific development, economic prosperity, and national security. These talent programs seek to lure Chinese overseas talent and foreign experts to bring their knowledge and experience to China and reward individuals for stealing proprietary information. Under the terms of Lieber's 3-year 1,000 Talents contract, the WT paid Lieber $50,000 per month, living expenses of up to 1 million Chinese yuan, approximately 158,000 USD at the time, and awarded him more than $1.5 million to establish a research lab at WT. In return, Lieber was obligated to work for WT not less than 9 months a year. By declaring international cooperation projects, cultivating young teachers and PhD students, organizing international conferences, applying for patents, and publishing articles in the name of WT, the complaint alleges that in 2018 and 2019, Lieber lied about his involvement in the 1,000 Talents Plan and affiliation with WT on or about April 24, 2018. During an interview with investigators, Lieber stated that he was never asked to participate in the 1,000 Talents program, but he wasn't sure how China categorized him. In November 2018, NIH inquired of Harvard whether Lieber had failed to disclose his then suspected relationship with WT and China's 1,000 Talents Plan. Lieber caused Harvard to falsely tell NIH that Lieber had no formal association with WT. After 2012, that WT continued to falsely exaggerate his involvement with WT, that's a fucking tongue twister, holy shit, in subsequent years, and that Lieber is not and has never been a participant in China's 1,000 Talents Plan. Dr. Charles Lieber, 60, chair of the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology at Harvard University, was arrested and charged by criminal complaint with one count of making a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement. So, Yun Qing Yi is a lieutenant of the People's Liberation Army, PLA, the Armed Forces of the People's Republic of China, and member of the Chinese Communist Party. On her J-1 visa application, Yi falsely identified herself as a student and lied about her ongoing military service at the National University of Defense Technology, a top military academy directed by the CCP. It is further alleged that while studying at Boston's University Department of Physics, Chemistry, and Biomedical Engineering from October 27th to April 2000. From October 2017 to April 2019, Yi continued to work as a PLA lieutenant, completing numerous assignments from PLA officers such as conducting research, assessing U.S. military websites, and sending U.S. documents and information to China. According to court documents on April 20th, 2019, federal officers interviewed Yi at Boston's Logan International Airport. During the interview, it is alleged that Yi falsely claimed she had minimal contact with 2 NUDT professors who were high-ranking PLA officers. However, a search of Yi's electronic devices demonstrated that at the direction of one NUDT professor who was a PLA colonel, Yi had accessed U.S. military websites, researched U.S. military projects, and compiled information for the PLA on 2 U.S. scientists with expertise in robotics and computer science. Furthermore, a review of a WeChat conversation revealed that Yi and the other PLA official from NUDT were collaborating on a research paper about a risk assessment model designed to decipher data from military applications. During the interview, Yi admitted that she held the rank of lieutenant in the PLA and admitted she was a member of the CCP. Okay, so Zhao Song Zhang. In August 2018, Zhang entered the United States on a J-1 visa and conducted cancer cell research at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston from September 4th, 2018 to December 9th, 2019. It is alleged that on December 9th, 2019, Zhang stole 21 vials of biological research and attempted to smuggle them out of the United States aboard a flight destined to China. The Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, where Zhang Zhaosong was working as a researcher. Oh shit. Federal officers at Logan Airport discovered the vials hidden in a sock inside of one of Zhang's bags and not properly packaged. It is alleged that initially Zhang lied to officers about the contents of his luggage, but later admitted he had stolen the vials from a lab at Beth Israel. Zhang stated that he intended to bring the vials to China to use them to conduct research in his own laboratory and publish the results under his own name. Sure. Coronavirus, China's secret plan to weaponize viruses. In a secret speech given to high-level Communist Party members nearly 2 decades ago, Chinese Defense Minister Zhen Haoxian explained a long-range plan for ensuring a Chinese national renaissance. He said there were 3 vital issues that must be grasped. The first was the issue of living space, because China is severely overpopulated and China's environment is deteriorating. The second issue, therefore, is that the Communist Party must teach the Chinese people to go out. By this, Zhen meant the conquest of new lands in which a second China could be built by colonization. From this arises the third vital issue, the issue of America. Zhen warned his listeners, "This appears to be shocking, but the logic is actually very simple. China is in fundamental conflict with the Western strategic interests. Therefore, the United States will never allow China to seize other countries to build a second China. The United States stands in China's way." Xi explained the problem as follows. Would the United States allow us to go out to gain new living space? First, if the United States is firm in blocking us, it is hard for us to do anything significant to Taiwan, Vietnam, India, or even Japan. So how much more living space can we get? Very trivial. Only countries like the United States, Canada, and Australia have the vast land to serve our need for mass colonization. We are not foolish as to want to perish together with America by using nuclear weapons, said the general. Only by using non-destructive weapons that can kill many people will be able to reserve America for ourselves. The answer is found in biological weapons, of course, he added. We have not been idle in the past years. We have seized the opportunity to master weapons of this kind. The ruling Chinese Communist Party considers biological weapons to be the most important weapons for accomplishing their goal of cleaning up America. Xi credits Deng Xiaoping with putting biological weapons ahead of all other weapon systems in the Chinese arsenal. When Comrade Xiaoping was still with us, the party central committee had the perspicacity to make the right decision not to develop aircraft carrier groups and focus instead on developing lethal weapons that can eliminate mass populations of the enemy country. It may seem difficult to believe, but Zhen Qi considered himself to be a humanitarian communist and therefore admitted to mixed personal feelings on this matter. I sometimes think how cruel it is for China and the United States to be enemies. After all, he noted, the United States helped China in World War II. Chinese people remembered that the United States opposed Japanese imperialism, but none of that matters now. In the long run, said General Qi, the relationship of China and the United States is one of a life and death struggle. This tragic situation must be accepted. According to General Chi, we must not forget that the history of our civilization repeatedly has taught us that one mountain does not allow two tigers to live together. According to General Chi, China's overpopulation problem and environmental degradation will eventually result in social collapse and civil war. General Chi estimated that more than 800 million Chinese would die in such a collapse. Therefore, the Chinese Communist Party has no policy alternative. Either the United States is cleaned up by biological attacks, or China suffers national catastrophe. Xi makes the following argument: we must prepare ourselves for two scenarios. If our biological weapons succeed in the surprise attack, the Chinese people will be able to keep their losses at a minimum in the fight against the United States. If however the attack fails and triggers a nuclear retaliation from the United States, China would perhaps suffer a catastrophe in which more than half of its population would perish. That is why we need to be ready with air defense systems for our big and medium-sized cities. In his speech, General Chi provides us with a key for understanding China's development strategy. According to Chi, our economic development is all about preparing for the needs of war. It's not about improving the life of Chinese people in the short run. It's not about building a consumer-oriented capitalist society. Publicly, said General Chi, we still emphasize economic development as our center, but in reality, economic development has war as its center. The same can be said about China's intense interest in the biological sciences, weaponizing viruses. The West has yet to grasp the underlying motive for China's ready participation in the West's P4 microbiology labs, where the world's most deadly microbes are studied. Example, pathogen lethality level 4 labs. This now bubbles to the surface in the novel coronavirus pandemic that occurred in Wuhan, at the heart of China, just outside China's principal P4 virology lab, specializing in deadly viruses. Not long after delivering his speech, General Chi stepped down as defense minister in 2003, the same year as the SARS coronavirus outbreak in China. This was also coincidentally the same year Beijing decided to build the Wuhan P4 virology lab. Given General Chi's speech, is the novel coronavirus outbreak in Wuhan an accident occasioned by weaponizing the virus at the city's P4 microbiology lab? 3 data points are worth considering. First, in 2008, Taiwan's top security official told lawmakers that Taiwan had intelligence linking the SARS virus to research done in Chinese labs. According to Sydney Morning Herald, given China's economic clout and political infiltration of Chinese language media, it's not surprising that National Security Bureau Director Tsai Chao-ming was forced to retract his statement, which had none of the usual features of a gaffe. Was Director Tsai forced to retract a statement that was true since he could not reveal his intelligence sources inside China? The second data point worth considering, the Virology Journal has an article by Gulfaraz Khan published on February 28, 2013, outlining the discovery of a novel coronavirus in Saudi Arabia in June 2012. Yes, it's the very same coronavirus with the following difference. When first discovered, it couldn't be readily transmitted from human to human. Something changed in the virus since that time. Thus, the Wuhan version is labeled 2019 nCoV instead of simply nCoV. The latter is not contagious, while the former is spreading rapidly through China as these words are spoken. What do you suppose changed its transmissibility between 2012 and 2020? Random mutation or weaponization? This question has now been answered by Indian scientists who discovered coronavirus was engineered with HIV/AIDS-like insertions. If the current lethal outbreak has occurred in any other city than Wuhan, we might be inclined to believe in a random mutation, but Wuhan is ground zero for Chinese bioweapons. Should we credit such a coincidence? The third data point worth considering, the journal Great Game India has published a piece titled Coronavirus Bioweapon and How China Stole Coronavirus from Canada and Weaponized it. The authors were clever enough to put Khan's Virology Journal article together with news of a security breach by Chinese nationals at the Canadian P4 National Microbiology Lab in Winnipeg, where the novel coronavirus was allegedly stored with other lethal organisms. Last May, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police were called in to investigate. By late July, the Chinese were kicked out of the facility. The chief Chinese scientist, Dr. Zhang Guo Chu, was allegedly making trips between Winnipeg and Wuhan. Here we have plausible theory of the nCoV organism's travels. First discovered in Saudi Arabia, then studied in Canada from whence it was stolen by a Chinese scientist and brought to Wuhan. People who can teach the truth are being killed. Frank Plummer, Canadian scientist key to coronavirus investigation, assassinated in Africa. In a very strange of events, renowned scientist Frank Plummer, who received Saudi SARS coronavirus sample and was working on coronavirus HIV vaccine in the Winnipeg-based Canadian lab from where the virus was smuggled by Chinese biowarfare agents and weaponized, as revealed in Great Game India investigation, has died in mysterious conditions. Frank Plummer was the key to the Chinese biological espionage case at Winnipeg's National Microbiology Laboratory. According to CBC, Plummer, 67, was in Kenya, where he was a keynote speaker at annual meetings at the University of Nairobi's Collective Center for Research and Training in HIV/AIDS, STIs. Dr. Larry Gelman, who helped set up the meeting, said Plummer collapsed and was taken to a hospital in Nairobi, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. No confirmed cause of death has yet been released. Professor Bing Liu, another coronavirus researcher, assassinated. Professor Bing Liu of the University of Pittsburgh, who was on the verge of a breakthrough in scientific understanding of the new coronavirus, has been shot dead. He was found in his townhouse with gunshot wounds to the head, neck, torso, and extremities. Okay. How Bill Gates infiltrated global health. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has been in the news recently for earmarking billions to fight COVID-19 and getting their accounts hacked and sensitive information leaked. The foundation was in charge of assets worth a little under $48 billion as of the end of 2018. But little is known of how its money and its consultant friends exert tremendous influence in the space of public health and international governance. Here's how Bill Gates infiltrated global health. The BMGF counts Bill Gates, his wife Melinda Gates, and billionaire investors Warren Buffett among its trustees. The primary goals of the foundation are to enhance healthcare and reduce extreme poverty globally. It was set up in 2000, the very year the United Nations set its Millennium Development Goals around health-related targets, which called for a reduction in infectious diseases that threatened to reverse decades of development. The BMGF soon founded the Grand Challenges for Global Health initiative, influenced heavily by the MDG. The GCGH pulled in increased funding from the U.S. government at a time when funds were being pulled back from other national programs. Gates had a few preconceived ideas about what the GCGH should fund, such as finding new approaches to preventing and treating HIV. We would be remiss if we failed to bring up that there has been little progress in an HIV cure. The foundation has since given out more than $50 billion. No such thing as a free gift. The foundation is deeply committed to international health agencies such as the World Health Organization, WHO, and UNITAID. universal spending on WHO is astoundingly high at nearly $229 million in the year 2018 alone. Lindsay McGoey, a University of Essex professor and author of the book No Such Thing as a Free Gift, The Gates Foundation and the Price of Philanthropy, said that the BMGF gives voluntary donations to the WHO, which is strictly strings attached. According to a press release by Unitaid, it was funded to the extent of $150 million by the foundation between 2006 and 2017. The BMGF has spent heavily on Gavi, the International Vaccine Alliance, contributing $750 million just to its launch and a whopping $1.56 billion since 2016. The BMGF regularly doles out multi-million-dollar contracts to management consulting firms, despite having to slash spending by 50% on consultants beginning 2015. It spent $300 million on consulting firms between 2006 and 2017. Since 2017, it has splurged just under $12 million on WHO's transformational consulting programs alone. In just one instance of undue influence and lavish spending, the BMGF pushed a failed fund-raising project called Massive Good to Unitaid in 2008. The project cost Unitaid $11 million in just consulting fees alone, the beneficiary being one of Gates' consultant friend, McKinsey and Company. Management consulting firms do not make meaningful revenue directly from public health sector. They would be extremely grateful to Bill Gates for the general influence they get. Such a halo effect of public health work would no doubt contribute significantly to the large revenue streams these consulting firms get from governments, which at least in the UK contributed 25% to consulting firms' overall 2017 revenue. Social sector projects have had a disproportionate impact on the firm's external image and an internal sense of purpose, admitted McKinsey and Company. The projects have also proved to be a powerful recruiting tool for the firms. Bill Gates and his consultants have come to believe that they are so well connected to global healthcare spending that they are ideally suited for tackling cross-cutting problems such as the HIV epidemic. Secret internal documents obtained by Vox, of a leading consulting company, McKinsey, revealed that the rise of the global philanthropists clearly has been exerting undue influence on global healthcare spending. In the U.S. alone, individuals will donate $5.5 to $7.4 trillion to charitable causes between 1998 and 2017. Globally focused institutions like the Gates Foundation are leading a sea change in philanthropic giving. Their founders are actively involved. They distribute far greater sums far more quickly. They demand measurable results and are pioneering innovative solutions on a national and global scale. The various management consulting companies such as BCG and McKinsey have severe issues of conflicts of interest. These companies work for the beverage industry, with companies such as PepsiCo pushing to the public sugary drinks, well known to be a cause of cancer and obesity. The consulting companies work with the coal sector, promoting unclean energy and polluting the air. Similarly, the consultants have deep wallet shares within the tobacco and alcohol industries, which peddle toxic products, the root cause of so many diseases. Are we to turn a blind eye when these very consultants turn around and bag multi-million-dollar contracts from big foundations and governments to fight TB and cancer? Investigation carried out by Great Game India has uncovered Bill Gates' collaboration with American and Chinese biotech companies in developing drugs and vaccines against COVID-19 using the patent pool concept. His $50 billion worth BMGF has formed a big pharma cartel under Unitaid. Such grants in the medicine and healthcare sector by Bill Gates have wreaked havoc on nations, which was most recently exposed on the world stage by none other than Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the nephew of former American President John F. Kennedy, and India is in their testing field. Even the most sought-after COVID-19 drug, hydroxychloroquine, was tested by East India Company on Indian soil. Already, WHO has initiated a COVID-19 surveillance project in India in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The data gathered through full-scale surveillance will be used to make future Indian nation policies. Yeah, and this is coming from the Bill Gates. Bill Gates has been caught fucking on Epstein's island and like paying visits to fucking Jeffrey Epstein. So like if we're gonna be trusting Bill Gates at all with fucking anything, it's fucking ludicrous. So yeah, and this isn't even everything that I've done research on with the bullshit surrounding coronavirus, but like this is just a taste of the bullshit they're feeding everybody. So yeah, I just wanted to take a second to kind of show you my notes on what's really going on with the coronavirus, and I hope you are more educated now, and I hope you have a good day.